What's your position on the absence of the president from Nigeria at the moment in the midst of what many see as a security crisis?
It's a confirmation of continuing irresponsibility. I've said it many times. The president has 3 offices. He has 3 missions in that office. He's the president, chief executive. He's the head of state, father of the whole country. He's also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. These 2 functions, head of state, which you weep with those who are weeping, you rejoice with those who are rejoicing, you assure people. You cannot do that holed up in a hotel in Paris or in some person's private house or private yacht in Paris. The commander-in-chief function, you cannot perform it on foreign soil unless you want to go on exile, which we don't pray for. So it's irresponsible. I am not one of those, and I don't believe, and SDP we don't believe also, that when there's insecurity in the land, when there is an attack or terrorist action or banditry, we do not politicize it because we do not want to encourage bandits and criminals to think that they can influence our politics by committing acts of terrorism. However, we must see that the president, even if he has personal problems that he's gone there to deal with, he has 2 options. One, to return home immediately, to attend to the situation and grieve with the people, or to issue an instrument to the vice president to say, you act for me as acting president while I'm away. What he's doing is a continuation of the Cavalier way. The president hasn't understood the oath of office that he took. He started violating it right from Eagle Square. He continues to do that now. He's not the first one to do it, but he's the one who is doing it right now.
Right.
And we need to put a stop to that.
So you've raised awareness, but you haven't achieved a great deal else, have you?
Well, the awareness is more important because people have to acknowledge that something's wrong with the politics. Because if you listen to politicians, they will tell you, oh, the president who is there now is the problem. Anybody but Jonathan. Oh, Buhari is the problem. He's clueless, whatever. Then Tinubu is the problem. But I can tell you, my mission is to make sure that Tinubu is the last of the bad presidents. And how do you ensure that? You will change the politics. You will make Nigerian to believe in the politics of their country. Reasonable people who will not touch politics with a long pole. When the politics is done in a proper way, ethically, legitimately, they will come into it. More talent will come into it, and people will not emphasize the politics of money. So once you change that system, it doesn't matter. Tinubu can resign tomorrow. You can conspire and remove him, but you are going to produce a Tinubu 2.0. So you don't need that. What we need is that we must change the politics. And to do that, you must first change your political party. And anyone who looks at the SDP knows that we have changed the party for the better. The message is going to the people. While we are doing awareness and our talkings, I don't want Nigerians to sit at home and point fingers at bad governance and say it's caused by politicians. The mandate comes from the people. And once the people raise their bar, politicians, some will respond to it, some will fall by the wayside. But if you say, under this current system we are running now, you want to bring money to come and push money on me and put me there, I'm not going to accept. We must change the politics.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to change.
Okay. Well, the things you say are very positive, very encouraging, and very inspiring. Let's just hope that the Nigerian people aren't let down again, as they have been repeatedly in
by
the
God's
past.
grace, we will not let the Nigerian people down.
Okay.
And we are not going to follow those who have ruined the system before. Anyone is free to join the party, but we are for the people of Nigeria. We have no other objective,
Okay.
no other mission.
So that's the former contestant from SDP, Adewale Adebayo. I want to ask this question. Why has Bola Tinubu not handed power over to Shettima since he knew he was going to be away for more than 2 weeks? In spite of the killings, why was there not a memo to hand power over following due process to Shettima if he cannot come back home? so that Shettima can act in his place until he's better to come back and talk to Nigerians and console Nigerians based on the kind of killings that's happened recently. You see that cavalier way this gentleman talked about? That way we carelessly dismiss, or the way our leaders have carelessly dismissed and felt unconcerned about our plight in spite of their bad policies and corruption. How do we fix it? How do we raise the bar so high to make sure that only the right sort of people are elected into places of authority? We're going to get into the matter of the things he talked about, but please watch this to the end. And also, if you're meeting this for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. If you've been following us and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to recommend this channel to others. Let's get right into the meat of the matter. He said that Bola Tinubu being away from Nigeria is a continuing of the irresponsibility of our president. He's not the first one to do it. Buhari did it for so long. He literally ruled Nigeria from England at one point in time for 6 months. But what he said was a confirmation of the continuing irresponsibility of our president to govern Nigeria from another person's country. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with his assessment, his analysis of the attitude of our president? If he cannot return to Nigeria, in spite of the killings, people have lost their lives. His own citizens have been killed in their homes. His own citizens have been displaced in their homes. Now we have so many IDP camps, internally displaced people's camps, spread across Nigeria when we don't have war going on in our country. But our president is in a different country, from foreign soil, trying to govern from there. That is the cavalier way this man was talking about. Unperturbed, unconcerned, careless, dismissive about the plight of Nigerians. So I want to ask, why do you think that Tinubu has not handed over? Go to National Assembly. I'm going to be away for this X amount of period. Shettima is going to rule in my place. He's going to govern in my place. When I come back, I take over. This is the part of power that the Constitution gives me. Why? Is there trust issue between Bola Tinubu and Shettima? Why? This is exactly what happened with Ondo State. Remember, I think it was Akere Dolu or something. That was his name. That man was sick for so long and they refused to hand over power to the people until he died away abroad. What is this thing about power that our politicians are so vexed with? What do you think? We should be looking at the medical records of each of our politicians before they take political office. It's not a slap on them. Trump's doing it. And the people called for him to take it and for the results to be announced. So why is it that when it comes to our own system, when these questions are asked, it looks as though we're taking a swipe at the president? No. There's some jobs that you will take. They will ask you to do your medicals. After all, for most of you traveling abroad, they always ask you to go do your medicals, and you do that willy-nilly and you give it to them so they can check whether or not you're sick before you come to the country. So why are you now thinking that taking this medical test and all of this to show whether or not you're fit to carry your task? The presidency is not a place for joking. It's an important job. It drives the nation in the right direction. You cannot be running Nigeria. You're held up in some hotel in France or some private property or in a boat somewhere, like he said. Nigeria is too delicate and too important for that purpose. I mean, for most of you who don't understand, Nigeria sits on the pivot of Africa. Whatever happens in Nigeria shakes the entire African continent. I'm not even going to say the word yet, but whatever happens in Nigeria shakes the entire African market. And then we have a president who is away and there's insecurity in the country. But let's jump into another point. This awareness that we're creating. He mentioned that as a people, we cannot sit in the house and say the change will start from the government. It starts from us. And we have to raise the bar so high, so much so that only the right set of people can filter in through. What we've had so far is charlatans and a system that is so bad and corrupt. And that's why it doesn't matter whether or not this coalition is formed to defeat Tinubu, it's still going to be another Tinubu 2.0. Have you not seen the numerical historical records? It shows you that every time we let one president go, another one comes in. That one that comes in afterwards becomes worse. From Obasanjo to Jonathan, all the way to Tinubu, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. The only one time when one person says his ambition is not worth the blood of one Nigerian. One person said that. But this current one says that, snatch it, run it, take it by force. And a lot of people got hurt because of that statement. So at what point in time would we then sit up and say it's enough? Listen, if we don't raise the bar, their own bar of corruption will be raised. We have to raise the bar way above there in order to get rid of these corrupt practices. We are not the beneficiaries of their corruption. They are, and their children are the beneficiaries of the corrupt practices. That's why they is enabled. Go and check. Most of all their children are living abroad. Most of all their children are going around with security, but yet they don't care about the destruction they cause in our country. I'm only saying this so that you and I would understand that where we are at this particular point in time is a pivot. We're at a pivotal point in our country's history. And the kind of leadership that we have will determine where we go next. At the moment, we can't even go out of our houses. At the moment, we can't even travel to our villages. At the moment, we're so afraid to come out of our communities, everything anytime past 5 o'clock. Why? Because of banditry, kidnapping, terrorism. But yet we have a government. How do we make sure that this impunity practiced by our politicians, this is going to be the last of the bad presidents we will have? A lot of people have called Tinubu a terrible president, but again, it came out from amongst us. The system needs to be fixed. Electoral system needs to be fixed, but we need to get rid of these guys because they're not going to fix it. No matter what we say, the only way of fixing it is to get rid of them first of all. Get the right people in slowly, and then we can start to fix the process, fix the electoral system, make sure that people, even those in diaspora, can vote because they are part of Nigeria and they are Nigerians, by the way. And they do a lot of remittance to Nigeria. So why shouldn't they be part of the process? So we have to do better than what we did in 2023. And they knew what we did in 2023. That's why they did so much to make sure that a lot of people don't vote. So I've been saying it from this channel. Go get your PVC if you're Nigerian. Help other people also make sure they get their PVC. You know why? Because when we approach 2027, they will do it deliberately to make sure you don't get those PVCs so that they can rig the election. The less of us vote, the better for us. The more of us that vote, the harder it gets for them. It's that simple. And that's the principle broken down in a nutshell. But again, the question is, how do we make sure that we don't get a Tinubu 2.0? We had a Buhari 1.0. We thought that was the worst we could get. Now we have a Tinubu 2.0, a lower version of Buhari. Nobody could have believed, and anyone would have said they would be doing that today. We want a country where things work. We want a country where the schools work. We want a country where the hospitals work, a healthcare system works. We can go to good schools and it can stand an international standard. We want our teachers to be trained and retrained and well paid. We want our police to be paid the right wages. We want our militaries to get the right gear so that they can fight terrorism and banditry. This will not work as long as we have these corrupt politicians who are continuously every day pillaging and stealing from us. Until we fix these people and get rid of them out of place of authority, our military will not get the right gears. Go and look at their barracks. You wonder why they are hostile to us on the road. Look at the police barracks. Look at where they live. If they put you and your children there, you will run away. You wouldn't want to live near there. They're not paid adequately. You pay a policeman 60,000 naira to come and protect you while you're making billions. It will run away. That's why they are aggressive at us when we see us on the road. Because they themselves are frustrated. Their children cannot go to school because they don't have enough money to pay for their children's tuition fee. We have to speak up. There's no time. Nobody's safe on the road anymore. The only people that are safe are the same people using the policemen as their security. So why don't you speak up? I mean, I know if you're a pro-government supporter right now, this particular government, if you're saying to me in the comment section, no, it won't fair and square, the question I always ask you is, are you also safe? Because the banditry and kidnappers don't think I voted for APC or you voted for APC. They're coming for everybody. So are you also safe? So before you attack me or attack other people in the comment section, realize that all we want eventually is a good working nation, a country where things are working for all of us, me, you, and everybody else. That's what we want in a nutshell. That's what this channel is all about. So I've asked this question in the comment section. I leave that in your hands to answer them. Again, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. If you've been following us and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. We want everybody to be part of the process. As always, God bless you, and I will catch you up in the next video. Bye-bye for now.